Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. It is 1 o'clock on Saturday. I slept in pretty good this morning. Was up pretty late last night. We played frisbee last night. But this is Marty, the JavaScript party, and my buddy Rhett, and we are writing some code, trying to get better, try to get a little better every day. I'm afraid to mess with anything because my the little connector that connects my external monitor to my computer seems to be getting a little bit wonky. I'm guessing that the connection. I'm guessing that the soldered connection inside there has probably gotten loose. It probably is. It's like always tough. You don't want to give up a computer. Probably more than anything else. I mean, the money is definitely part of it, but also, like, you've got so many things installed and stuff like that, and it's just like almost impossible to not lose something during a transition from one computer to another. Um, so this is still working for some reason to bring up, and but basically what we've been doing is working on unit tests. Oh, did I? Oh, okay, I messed up. Okay, npm run test. We've been working on unit tests. Basically, we had to do a refactor because I sort of discovered a new thing I'd never tried before. Oh man, I thought maybe my camera was doing that herky jerky thing again. Um, so we discovered kind of a new thing called detached nodes. So we've done some refactoring to sort of get away from some things that were definitely causing detached nodes, um, and try and just figure it out because it's like very mysterious to me what these detached nodes are. First, I thought they were like things that were in JavaScript that like were memory leaks, like a leak in JavaScript, that something that was created and there was some reference to something that no longer existed or whatever. I don't know. But basically, I thought it was a memory leak in JavaScript. And then after doing a little bit more research, I realized no, this is like something that's in the I think it's C++ executable of the browser, that it has these elements that are created. And it's hard to know because an element by itself is a very heavy thing. It's got CSS, it's got all kinds of stuff associated with it. So they are pretty expensive, but I don't know to what degree when you see the detached nodes, it has all the additional things that come along with any node in JavaScript. I mean, that was kind of one of the major things that um, what is it? Facebook's React. Like that was kind of one of their innovations is they can make websites much faster, applications much faster because they would create like a tree that matched the DOM, but it wasn't as heavy as the DOM. It didn't have all the things. So when you interacted with the tree, um, it wasn't as expensive as interacting with the DOM directly. But I don't know. I think the browsers have been able to sort of mitigate a lot of the issues that Flash fixed. Um, so here we are, and we have these. Like if I go here and I hit, and I was noticing this the other day, and I don't know exactly what the mechanism is, but I would go here, and then I would go here, and then I'd go back to here, and then I would go look at my um, look at the. Let me pop that out. We'll go look at the memory, and we see that, man, this thing is moving so slow. If we take a snapshot of our detached, see we have this. So yesterday what I was seeing, through those exact same behaviors, I was seeing rows. Maybe it's because I had more than one row. Oh, actually it's probably because I deleted. So if we add like, add, and then let's see, close that, and then go to here, and now if we look at, oh no, wrong one. Now if we run our profile again, so we still don't have it, but I think what I did was then I went into update. And then I think, actually, what I also did was I did a delete. And then let's just do update. And then that's pretty cool looking. And then go back to here. And then see, so you see we have all these rows that are, wow, it took that long. Man, my computer is being so slow this morning. Edge did some kind of update, so I'm not sure if that's related. But so we have these rows, and the question is like if you go into these rows, right? We have these TDs, these columns, and then you come in there or data cells, and we have these buttons. Like all of these may then have references back to functions that may have references to objects. You know, I don't know. I don't know what they are, and I don't understand why these things exist. But it says retain node. I don't know what that means. But anyways, and there's 23 of these things. Oh, there's 23 things in it. That is the thing I keep getting confused of. See, there's 4 things in this div. If we go in here, and so it's hard to know like what the implications are from a memory perspective, and it's very, very difficult and mysterious to know why these exist. And then like all we can do is kind of experiment on like maybe how we can possibly do something to mitigate, to what sort of behaviors we can do that won't cause this to happen. See, we did manage to get rid of some of the stuff by getting rid of some nodes when we got rid of our routing, and we did when we quit using the mat menu, they went away. Now that doesn't mean that those were causing it. It just means that they went away. That's all that means. And I do think it is doing a bit of a, well, I don't know. It's weird. But anyways, we've been refactoring to sort of try to get rid of this stuff. My latest guess, wild ass guess is what that stands for. My latest wag is that possibly something outside of the browser, like maybe in the cloud or something somewhere, is getting references to these things, and that's why they're not getting deleted. But basically, I think what we want to do is probably, if you look in the code, I think we kind of talked about this at the end of yesterday. When we go to like app custom layout or at tabular layout, because that seems to be the one that has the problems. If we go into the TypeScript, what we see is that I do this thing where I set the renderers, which is what drives these rows. I just reset it to a whole new thing, and maybe if instead of wiping it out like in this abrupt way, if I do like a for loop over it and delete them individually, maybe on the Angular side it'll delete it in such a way that doesn't create those things. But anyways, in the meantime, one of the things that I wanted to do, because I kind of wanted to, like I once worked at a place where we had 80% test coverage, and it was interesting. It took, like, we literally spent, for every hour of coding, we probably spent 4 or 5 hours writing unit tests. And so it really slowed down development. Now, I have found that I've gotten faster at writing unit tests, but the thing about unit tests is they kind of like, the more you unit test, then the more things you realize, oh, I should unit test this. It's just sort of a self-growing kind of thing, and you end up spending all kinds of time obsessing over trivial things that don't matter. But there probably should be a time that you always spend obsessing about trivial things that do matter. And so if you can, and unit testing is a good time to kind of obsess about those things, Because what I do a lot of times is I'll get things working, and then I have sort of a block of code that works, and I try to clean it up and make it as nice as I can. But I found that when you have that sort of block of code that works, many times it's very, very difficult to maintain that block of code. It's hard to come back later and understand what that block of code does. So unit tests really encourage you to break your code down into functions and individual things that, and then you have the name of the function, and it's easier to understand what's going on. So it's very good for granular things, in my opinion. But anyways, because of the way I ran the unit test, it generated this test for me. I mean, this report for me, and it tells me what my unit test coverage is. And so I have a couple of problems, or not problems, but I have a couple of branches that don't get unit test here. And my personal experience, what I've learned as part of this, okay, this would actually be very helpful. There we go. So what I've learned as part of this experience is that branches are almost always a good indicator of a good place to create a function that handles branching. And I was interacting with ChatGPT, and it was saying that the sort of phrase that describes that is functions overflow. So it's easier to do unit testing and to to me to understand what's going on when I have functions that do things as opposed to flow that does things. And flow would be like if this or that or this or that. If I have functions that do that same behavior, it just for me is easier to follow along with and understand. So you can click in here, and then you click in here, and it shows you where the problems are. And so the problem is, and this is a perfect example of, it would be better if I just called a function that does that. Otherwise, I have to figure out how to get this effect to fire in my unit test, and I'd rather not do that. I would rather just have a function that I can call. So now I know that this is my app layout component. So that's this. So I can click on this, and then if I click up here on this Explorer and then open it up again, it takes me right to where I was at. And so I want to go to this specification, and basically, actually I want to go into the TypeScript. And what I want to do is I want to create a function that does this. Is that right? Am I the right one? Oh, custom layout, not tabular layout. So apparently yesterday I wanted to do. So I want to do a function that does this instead. So I just call this function, and it does it, as opposed to trying to get the event to call with these conditions. I'd rather have a function. So right now, all I have is a constructor function, so I'd rather create a function, and let's call it set renderers. And it's going to accept, it looks like a single argument, and that is going to be a string. And it's I guess we'll just go with current view. It's kind of nice to name them the same thing that you named it above, just mostly because when you do that, when you do that, what happens is like when you copy the code over, you don't have as much work to do. And then this is actually going to return an array of renderers. And then like that. And then I'm going to basically, and actually it's going to, yeah, I'm just going to say const, and see, I don't think I want to do that. See, I think this pattern may be what's causing, so I'm actually, instead of saying the renderers, I'm going to say update renderers. And not only am I going to accept I'm going to accept the renderers. What do I call it? Renderers. ST renderers. I don't know if this is less or more confusing to name it the same thing. It is actually the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing, Rhett. It's exactly the same thing. And I'm going to actually have this return a count, a number. So I'm just going to return the number of things, and then basically I'm going to, for now, I'm probably going to circle back and do like a change, but I want to stay focused on just unit tests. But I would like to experiment um, with well, so the way I'm doing this, actually I have no choice, and I don't know if it's going to work. So actually, I'm going to return st renderers for now. This may actually, and it will be actually useful to know. Um, you know what? I'm going to change this completely. I'm going to go back to what I was doing. st render, and then I'm just going to return the st renderers. Okay, so basically it's happy now, and then I'm going to do copy this code exactly as is, and we'll move it down here. And I'm going to fix the formatting by holding the shift button down and tab, and then I'm going to take my st renders, and so this is an object that I passed in. It's an array, right? And I'm actually affecting the array. So I don't actually have to assign it at this point. So I can just say it like this. And I feel like it isn't, you know what? So if I was at a job right now working with other people, I would definitely let me undo that. I would definitely return and assign. This is what I would do if I was at a job. I would say this dot st renders is equal to update renders current view, comma, this dot st renders. That's exactly what I would do. And the reason I would do it that way is because this makes sense when you read it. So this is sort of a humans over like, I would rather it be easier for a human being to compile this in their mind into what it does. So it's saying, hey, I'm taking my st renders, I'm passing in my renders, I'm updating the renders, and then return and assigning it. But there is absolutely no difference between that and this. It's the same thing, because I'm passing an actual reference to the renderer itself, the list of renderers. So when I do my update, I'm actually doing the exact same thing. Now, the biggest reason I'm returning the st renders is because so it'd be easier to unit test. But I guess if I'm going to do it this way, I might as well just do like this. Am I doing that right? Oh, silly. Okay, so this is going to return a number, and that's going to be dot length. I think that's easier to sort of understand. Now, since I'm only working on this, and since I care more about like the people that watch the videos than someone who might download the code later and try to understand what's going on off of GitHub, since I care about the watchers, all three of you, I would rather do it this way so that I can explain carefully. This is a reference. So this reference is since I'm changing it here, I'm actually changing the reference. It's the same thing as saying this dot. There's no difference. Um, it would I could easily just go like this and remove this and say this dot. It's just I feel that it's harder to unit test that way. So this is the same thing though, and that's something that if you don't understand that, it will help you a lot. I can't tell you how many times, and it's dozens and dozens of times that I've gone in to places to work as a contractor where I was only there for like 3 months or whatever, and in like 2 days or 3 days I have fixed like 5 bugs that they have never that they'd had for years and didn't understand. Um, so it's very important. Now, did this break anything? I don't think so, but we should check and we should try to understand. So basically, the layout component probably should not work if um, something should probably break in the layout component. And there is a bit of a safety net in that we're going to run our end-to-end tests at the end, and that will catch it. But I would sort of rather figure out if we broke something now than later. Now I'm going to hit save on this, and I don't know if our unit tests are going to run. It does not look like they ran. So let's run this. Now I should have a function fail and branches. So it should have added one fail or not untested function would be my guess. So the function still got so it got ran. This isn't my latest code though. Did I not save? I saved. Custom layout, save. Let's reload. And for some reason we are not picking up. Oh, here we go. See. Oh yeah. So now we're here. We still have 2 branches, but it's here, and I think it'll be easier to write a test to test this, where we send in a current view of blank, and then this should get called, right? And we expect it to be 0. So I'm going to add a new test, and the whole goal is to get that thing done. So should clear renders if not custom. And then we're going to pass in a function, and then I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to run it. So I'm going to say this is a component, right? A component dot update renderers. Nope. Update renders, and then we're going to pass it a blank string and an empty array. And I believe that'll get us to 100% coverage. What? Okay, I don't understand why. Did we get a complaint that expectation? Yeah, this should process. Oh, okay, so that's not even this. So there's another one that we never built an expectation for. App custom layout clears renders, and we passed in a blank, so that should. Oh, or that. Oh, okay, so if it's blank or that. Okay, so that was one of the things we didn't call. And then the other thing is that we didn't call is something else. So I believe component dot. See, and like, yeah, I just wrote this code and I already kind of forgot what it does. So basically, whenever the route is at blank or at custom, it should run this. And before I wasn't running that. So I believe there's one less branch. Yeah, so we have 3 out of 4 branches. But now we want to do this one. And I think tabular is one of the other ones. And I don't think it'll let us pass in. Oh, okay, so we don't want that to be a string, actually. We want that to be a, and see that's the point, is like as we're doing these updates and stuff, this is the point where we can really obsess about things. And there is some benefit to obsessing, but you don't want to obsess too much. So in our interfaces, we have layout types, and in our layout type, so that's the kind of, it has to be a layout type. And I have found this, like when I strong typing, I worked at another place where we didn't have to do unit tests, but we had to do strong typing, and that was another thing that we would literally, like someone would say, I have the code done, but I'm still working on strong typing, and like they might spend 2 days getting the code working, and then 3 weeks trying to get the strong typing working. It was crazy how long that, how much effort that used to take. It doesn't. I find it not that it doesn't take nearly as much time for me now, and it's mostly because I don't. Mostly because ChatGPT. ChatGPT has made strong typing third-party functions and stuff like that so much easier. But let's see, let's reload, and then we want to come back over here. And so what that will do is it'll prevent me from being able to be like, blah. See, it's like, oh, that's not the right type. And to me, that is the win. That is the absolute win. Now, usually it'll like tell you like, or I guess if I start to type it in, so we want to do like tabular, I think. So I don't know. Sometimes in some circumstances it actually tells you, but I think it's probably still running at this point, but maybe not. Maybe it didn't pick up the fact that there was a change. Okay, so now it's definitely running because we can see it running down here. It's definitely done. Let's see if we go to 100%. Yep, we're at 100%. So I think that's good, and I actually think when we start doing our experiment on trying to make ST renderers not do that, ST renderers be more of like a for loop and sort of remove things in a more predictable way, I guess, instead, or less abrupt way, instead of just overriding it, actually, iterating over it to say, maybe it'll work. Maybe we have to iterate it and do like a set timeout or after next on each one of them or something to get them to delete independently. And what happens a lot of times is you'll do things like that so that you can fix issues like what I'm trying to fix, but then you find out that or then they fix it somehow on the back end. Like I think I have some videos. My most popular videos are like, I built a ThreeJS in less than 10 minutes with blah 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 in Angular 17, whatever. And in the early ones, I used to have to like import the Windows option. I used to have to create like a provider so that I could get access to the window. And now they don't. They just give you access to the window. So like that old video looks insane. It's like, why are you even doing that? And it's just because, well, that's how it was in Angular 17. But so let's say const render count equals, and then we expect render count to be 0. Now I know that doesn't really like test anything, not really, but like we could get a lot more into it. And I feel like if you set this up, like let's say you to equal, and then like this is a great way, like probably to introduce a new developer to the code. Is, hey, can you go ahead and write like a good set of scripts, tests for this, that do all the different things that this do. And I think that's really good training for a new developer. And I think that if I was a brand new developer, like the way my brain works, I would love that task to just go through and come up with every crazy way to test this thing. And I think it would lead to a lot of good conversations and stuff like that. So now we can get rid of this. And then the last and literally the most important thing is to make sure that the code still seems to work. We could kick that can down the road and hope that, and then when we do our end-to-end tests, whatever would be a problem will present itself. But the problem for me is with that is that it's probably it did not work. It's like it would be much harder to come up to speed. Like, so if we just moved on and started doing the other unit tests at this point, but something broke. So let's go ahead and F12 console. First things first, just check to see. Let's go back. Let's go here. See, we've added all these vises, but we can't see them when we're there. So now we need to figure that out. So I was hoping to be done with unit tests today, but it looks like I will not. So this is broken in the real code, so we don't really need to do anything. So let's just see if st renders. So let's just see what happens. Let's see if this gets called. Maybe I'm wrong. I could have sworn this would affect. Oh wait. Yeah, this would affect this, but okay, anyways. Console.log. I guess we'll do current view and st renders. And if I was wrong, then this is amazing because I definitely misunderstand something or something has changed. Okay, so we are in custom and we have an empty array, which is what we expect because it just reloaded. Let's go ahead and just reload it just so we can be sure. And then we'll hit add. And it's still blank. Oh. That's right. The thing is what we really want is our new. Yeah, so I missed something. See, I'm passing in itself, which is already empty. It's just never going to do that. But what we actually want to pass in is the new array too. And I don't know how I did that. So let's just hit Control Z. We'll kind of go back to where we were at. It's this guy. That's what we actually. And then I'm going to hit Control Shift Z. st renders is equal to this UI service. So yeah, that actually seems like that should have worked. Now that I look back again, because we are actually we're using this, which was kind of like not what we wanted. So I'm a little confused at this point. So we pass in a reference to the renderers. All right, so let's save. I think that's where we were at. Anyways, okay, it reloaded itself. Add a viz. Go to our console logs. I don't know why I don't know why we don't have a add viz. Okay, now it's not getting called at all. Maybe it was still no, it shouldn't have been compiling anymore. insanity. Let's go to this. Just make sure. Yeah, so it was getting called. Now I don't understand why we're not getting our console logs at all. We're in custom. Oh, because we don't have our controls. We didn't go all the way. We don't have console logs, so that would do it. I thought I felt like 100% this morning, but my brain ain't functioning, fellas. Brain ain't functioning. I have this. All right, so let's turn our console log on. And what I don't understand is, are we getting in there? Because if we're getting in there, it seems like this should be returning something. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe we have to access it from within the event. I don't know. Okay, so we are in there. What is this? And that does have something. Maybe it's not. Yeah, that's weird. Maybe it's not running the, like it's not noticing that there's a change. But if that was the case, then no, I guess I was going to say when we left and came back, it would be, because we don't actually destroy these things. That was kind of the whole point. It's still there, but it doesn't seem to be doing an update. So I'm going to just try this just for knowledge, just so that I can be more knowledgeable. Because that is kind of the whole point of all of this stuff. It's kind of nice because I know that it it's done compiling because I was gonna say I know it's done compiling because it redraws and I lose that pop-up, but actually that is not the case. Alright, add. Okay, so it does work when I do it that way. And I'm pretty sure that this is actually a reference. Maybe they're doing something behind the scene when they transfile. Okay, so let's just go back to the way it was. Now I just need to understand this because, you just don't get chances like this very often. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is, let's see, I'm trying to understand if this guy up here, where are you? ST renderers is changing when I change this because I passed in this.st renderers to it. And I believe I was under the impression that this is a reference. And if I'm wrong about that, I want to know that I'm wrong about that. Okay, so now what we can do is I think we can mouse over this guy up here. Yeah, maybe not. Okay, so we can also click in here. Okay, so our ST renders is in fact blank, even though we had already added one in. So it does not seem to actually be a reference to. Gosh, okay, that's got me messed up. Why is that not? And so when I come in here and then if I hit play, damn it, sometimes you think you understand something and then you find out that you totally don't understand it. And that's a very strange feeling. And it is not a pleasant feeling, but it's a feeling you better get used to if you want to be a computer programmer. Okay, so ST renderers right now is these 4 things, but this ST renderer is still blank. So it did not update the reference when I passed this in. I do not understand why. It seems like it should have updated the reference. So I don't even know. Don't know what to do. I think probably the best way to do this will be to have it return the actual renderer and update that. Now I know that I have worked in plenty of places where I've seen the exact opposite behavior, so I'm a little bit befuddled at the moment. But if they have changed something in the way like Angular transpiles things, okay, so if I had a completely wrong idea, which I don't think, because I feel pretty good about, but if I had a wrong idea, then I'm glad that I don't no longer have that wrong idea. I still am suspicious, but I'm glad that, like, if I've gotten this horribly wrong idea, then I'm glad that I'm on the path of fixing that. If something changed, I'm glad that I'm at the front end of understanding that change. Okay, why? Okay, this. Did I not make that an array? What? Void is not assignable. Oh, wrong. Silly Billy. Okay, that's right. Okay, I think what I want is this up here. I was in the wrong line. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if I have a lot more detached nodes now. You know, I don't really understand why detached nodes, so it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if I don't. But I think there's going to be more because I'm doing apparently a full overwrite on everything. Oh, well, okay, so we'll see. Okay, so that, I come here, and then let's say I delete. So there should be no rows, so let's look at that. So memory, and take the snapshot. Yeah, so there's that. Now I'm going to come change views again, run this thing again. Okay, so now we have detached, but it's, so we don't have any problems inside it, but that's inside of the tabular layout. All right, so now I believe we're still at 100%. Just make sure we haven't screwed that up. Yep, we're still at 100%. So if we hit back now, back. I love you too. So now we have 3 branches that are untested, 1 function that's untested, and 2 lines that are untested. That always blows my mind. So we have 3 untested branches and 2 lines of code. Like, that doesn't even seem possible. So now what we're going to do is, let's see what we get when we sort on lines. Okay, so this has 1 line of code. Okay, so I guess 2 of the branches may be on 1 line or something. Because see, it's showing that there's 2 branches and one branch that's uncovered here. And then each one of them, well, actually, oh, and this has 1 line of code, and that's 1 line of code. So that's fun and interesting. How long is this video right now? 45 minutes. Okay, so that's probably too long for a video. Um, so, but it looks like, yeah, we just need to basically do the exact same thing in here for tabular. And yeah, that whole thing, that reference thing, I don't know. It didn't work. It's not right. That thing I've just been going on and on for months about, like saying, hey, you got to understand this, blah, 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 blah. And now it's like not even right. It's wrong. Um, that's weird. And like if you're working on an older version of Angular or something, it might still be right for you, but I think maybe under the context of working in signals with, it probably has something to do with the way signals is. And calling a function outside of the effect seems to have caused. It would be interesting to experiment with that. Like, maybe I'll do that when we work on the tabular layout. Like, assign it to another variable right before that line. So, well, here, let me do this. So this is saying that there's two branches, not. Yeah, so this needs to, yeah, there's two branches, isn't it? So this needs to get pulled off into its own little function. But, so tomorrow I'm going to work on tabular components. Let me try to do this real quick. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, actually, I'm just going to testing references. And then, but I'm going to say, yeah, let st renderers equals this dot st renderers. And then let's just change this to st renderers and this to st renderers. Okay, so like basically this is almost exactly what we did before, but not in a function call. My belief is that it will work. But maybe I'm just, like I said, that could be just completely wrong. Okay, so now we'll go to tabular. Yep. So that did not work. What? What in the world? All right. So, anyways, that gives me a lot to think about. Like I said, either I've been just completely wrong about all this stuff for years now, and this thing that I've known that made me able to fix broken bugs that have been broken for years at places suddenly was just false the whole time, and my whole life is a fraud. It's a fraud, I tell you. Or something has changed, and something is different in effects or something like that. Let's see. I know this is going to end up making this freaking video go a lot longer than I want it to go. But I just had an idea. Okay, so I have this code that just for understanding references in JS is inside of an effect in Angular 20. Read down step by step. Okay. Copies the reference of this into a local variable. Array in memory. This reassigns the okay, so that is actually something I was very curious about, is if this returns, if when I do this, if they're pointing at the same reference. They are clearly not pointing at the, and I guess that makes sense. You are no longer okay. So after, so analogy, think of str as a box with marbles. Let strrender means that you're pointing at the same box, but then strrender means you're pointing at a new box. So I got that. So okay, yeah, okay. Oh, I learned something. Oh, push. And see, I think that's what I need to do. I think that is what's causing the detached nodes. So, okay, so so this code was actually working. So, so this code was actually working. Okay, but to result in detached nodes. Right to be suspicious. Yes, assign array absolutely causes detached nodes or dangling views in Angular depending on what the array is used for. Yeah. This will destroy those rules, but only if you change it to if, however, there's async logic signal effects or outside of Angular zone, then Angular may not correctly reconcile the DOM tree, leaving you with detached or over nodes. When Angular builds the DOM from an iterable ng4 signal-based render, it keeps internal references between the logical data of your array item and the DOM nodes they produce. If you replace the array reference, Angular diffing algorithm loses those internal references. So you might get nodes that aren't destroyed but no longer part of the live tree, memory leaks, or even visible rendering weirdness. See, and this was, I think, the poison pill that I had, and I knew, my sense from just decades and decades of experience was that I had something that was gonna have long term, very negative effects. Uh, okay, all right, that was incredibly. This is why. This is the biggest reason I do this is for selfish reasons, because I want to grow as a developer. That's why I do this. If I can help someone along the way, then that's all bonus. But yeah, so I love this line. Safe, safe. Mutates existing array safe. Yeah, so I think I need to do something a little bit. I don't think this is exactly what I want when I want to like change, like if we deleted or added something, but I do think that I do think that we're on to what the true issue is, um, and I think that it's like sort of a bad. One of the most brilliant developers, architects that I've ever worked with used to always say, today's pattern is tomorrow's anti-pattern. And this is the perfect example. This was the pattern. This was the pattern that you wanted to do because you wanted to clearly inform the template in Angular that you were clearing so you wanted to assign it to a different variable. That was the pattern. Now it is an anti-pattern because it creates detached nodes. Just that is the very nature of software development, and that's that. And now this freaking video is 55 minutes long. Sorry, everybody. Happy coding. Bye.